Good afternoon, everyone. Time for episode 20 of The Last Admiral. Today is the 4th of February, 2022. We'll take up again at the top of page 157, where we left off last time. The Defense of Sissily. Prince Ivan stood watch upon the widow's walk of Gala's last remaining building, wearing leather, chestnut-colored armor. The golden lion symbol of his ancestors decorated his tunic on his chest and on his back. 6'4" tall, broad-shouldered and powerful of limbs, his face was well-formed and balanced, with a strong chin, straight nose, and full cheekbones. His large, square-shaped hands were capable. Blonde gold were his hair and short beard, and his eyes were like aquamarines. Around him, the Sicilian village of Gala lay smoldering and ruined. There, after 30 days of brutal fighting in the mountains, he had finally defeated the last stronghold of Dragonian power on the island. The valiant effort had cost him more than half of his army, and enemy guerrillas still lurked in hidden pockets across the island. Standing beside him was his most trusted advisor, a strong woman, now past middle age, and high priestess of the goddess Ilmatar, child of the four winds. Fit from travel in the long campaign, she carried her armor well, despite a little stiffness of the spine. Her hair was long and gray, and her eyes were brown and bold. She wore the spiral cross of her sect on a long chain about her neck. "If they land another force," Prince Ivan observed, "before our reinforcements arrive from Drakmar, then we'll never hold the island." "I have consulted the bones," she reported. "Your fight here is over, my prince. If only Drakmar would send the reinforcements that I requested, then we could hold the island indefinitely." "It would only delay the inevitable," Lorelaine replied. "Ilmatar has shown me the great force that comes. A terrible general, Jinjang Lo, sails here with a mighty fleet and thousands of warriors. If we do not set sail by noontide 4 days hence, then we will all die here." "Then it has all been for naught." "No, my lord. You brought the fight to them for the first time in a generation, and you have saved many innocents from slavery and death. Sicily's fate was sealed long before we landed here. Queen Afra knows well that without Sicily she will never conquer Firminor." "I have both succeeded and failed then," Ivan said broodingly, "but perhaps that is true of most endeavors." "What is your command, my king?" "Prince, you mean?" Ivan asked. "No, my lord," Lorelaine said, eyes welling with tears. "I am sorry to inform you that your father, Khan, died only moments ago." "It cannot be." "The goddess speaks to me, Ivan. It is so," Lorelaine affirmed while placing her hand on his shoulder lovingly. "But remember this, that while he lay in fever upon his deathbed, his spirit soared here, and witnessed your bravery on the battlefield. His soul is at peace now, in the hands of Ilmatar. Then safe haven needs us now, more than ever. I will have Captain Skara assemble the army. We have over 100 wounded and many refugees to get to safety." "Have the engineers inspect the captured ships," King Ivan directed. "If they are sound, then we can sail the army back to Sina and avoid the dangers of the road." Stumbling to her knees, Lorelaine clung to Ivan for support. Some strange spell had come over her. "Wizard!" she cried out while clutching her cross. "Too strong! They are here! Flee! We must flee! Jinjang Lo is nigh upon the horizon." "So soon?" King Ivan muttered in dread, and there, rising above the furthest edge of the sea, he could clearly make out the first black sail. "They will land in hours, not days, woman." powerful sorcerer clouds my vision, such power as I have never felt before. She was still shaking uncontrollably as Ivan helped her to her feet. Are you okay, priestess? I will forget that you called me woman. Smiling feebly, her strength slowly returned. We have no time to waste, Ivan asserted. But will they land here or sail around to Sina and cut us off? We must assume the worst. If we move out now, we can still escape. Speed alone will not be enough, I fear, Ivan said. Can I count on you? I am myself again, my king. The wizard will not surprise me again. Good. Then have the captured ships inspected immediately. If they are sound, do what you must to get everyone aboard. We'll set sail as soon as possible. Yes, my king, Lord Lane replied. Skara, Lord Ivan's fiery-haired captain of the guard, called the army to formation in record time. Their original expeditionary force, numbering 1,011 experienced knights and footmen, had lost over half of its number during the campaign, and the final battle for Gala had left another 42 dead on the field and 50 wounded and out of the fight. The enemy had fought well, refusing to surrender, and their only captive died of his wounds before questioning. Most of the corpses lay in a gross line of battle above the high water mark of the beach, recording the battle's most violent climax. Captain Skara, Ivan said, the enemy is upon us. We cannot bury our dead, but they may yet fight for us. Order every knight who can still stand to position the dead about the village, as if they prepare to defend it. It may buy us the time that we need. It's a bold plan, my prince. Push them hard, Sean, Ivan warned. Every minute counts. It's time to go home, Furman, Skara declared, and many among them cheered. Facing them all seriously, he instructed, We have to heave to. A fleet of dragon ships is fast approaching, and I, for one, do not want to be here when they arrive. I want every soldier not already on detail clearing this beach. Form up the fallen on stakes to support them, and switch your tunics with the enemy dead. I want Gala to look like we are ready to fight, and I want it done in 15 minutes. 3 abandoned dragon ships remained docked alongside of the piers of Gala's harbor. They searched them all for signs of sabotage, and found them to be intact, either by the oversight of their Dragonian commanders, or due to the sudden onset of battle. The ships are fit, Sailor Chesham reported. I looked them all over myself, and I can't find any signs of tampering. I think that they meant to go off with them, but never made it, Your Grace. Do we have enough able seamen to sail them? It's an odd design, Chesham observed, with a smile full of missing and chipped teeth. Only the single mast, but simple enough. 3 sailors should be sufficient to make them fly. Good, Laura Lane said hopefully. Each ship will carry 1/3 of the knights wounded and refugees. I want every capable sailor working the ship with you. Chesham, I am promoting you to captain. Ready your ships. Aye, my lady, he answered. And Chesham, she cautioned while pointing out to the sea, have each ship set sail as soon as they are loaded. Fly the enemy's own colors, and display our knights boldly in Dragonian liveries. It may fool them long enough to make good our escape. I'll see that it's done. Make fast for Sina. If the enemy has landed there too soon, head for the open sea and sail for Itzel. If we are separated, we will rendezvous with you there, if we can. Chesham's dark eyes opened wide with fear from beneath his green watch cap, for the horizon was now dotted end to end with enemy sails. Yes, my lady. We are all counting on you, Captain. Going to work, Laura Lane promoted experienced sailors to command each ship and supervise the careful loading of the wounded, whose cries of agony rose above the sounds of the crashing waves of the surf. Attending to the worst of the injured personally, the expeditionary physician, and his attendants assisted her. Working hard, they reset and splinted broken bones, removed arrows, cauterized and stitched open wounds. Lorelaine was a gifted healer, empowered by Ilmatar, but the task was enormous and her strength was limited. King Ivan came to her. "How soon can we move them?" 50 of them cannot march or ride, but they should live. If the seas are rough, the voyage will be terrible for them. They will have to endure their pain, King Ivan said. If they fall into enemy hands, then their suffering will be final. "Yes, my lord," she replied. "Hold the ship until my return," he bid, leaving her with a nod. "I shall sail with you, Lorelaine, but first I must ask another great sacrifice of my rangers." She went back to work, helping Gala's aged, crippling mothers and children to board ship. There were few husbands, fathers, or fighting-age sons left among them. Their oppressors had worked them all to death. If she had any say in the matter, those survivors would live long enough to remember their tales and honor them in the retelling. Prince Ivan found Sir John working alongside of his men, propping the fallen up with staves half buried in the sand, leaning them up against fortifications or behind piles of rubble, laying the spears, swords, and other weapons of the dead among them as if readied for a fight. They ignited bonfires to cloak the harbor in smoke and conceal the true nature of their army. "Sir John, you have led your rangers valiantly and truly. I have no right to ask more of them, but our situation is dire." "We serve you, my king. The wounded cannot survive a forced march overland to Sina, and the enemy will be here within hours. So the sea is our only chance for escape." "Quite," Ivan replied. "And someone must remain behind in order to add life to the scene." Ivan stood before Sir John, looked him in the eyes, clasped his shoulder, and frankly said, "Lorelaine has foreseen that Jinjang Lo will either land here in force or divide his fleet in the hopes of cutting off our escape. 20 knights from 1st and 2nd companies will assist you rangers. Make a bold show of resistance and delay their advance of your own accord. I shall command a transport to remain in Port Sina as long as they can in order to bring you home. Do what is possible, but do not waste your lives. We will meet this General Jinjang Lo another day upon some other field." "Yes, my lord," Sir John replied. Prince Ivan extended his hand in an unprecedented display of respect. "May Ilmatar be with you." Sir John hesitated for just an instant before returning his bold and genuine handshake. "And also with you, my lord." They parted, and the prince was barely away before Sir John resumed command. "Wrap it up, rangers. Water your horses and check your equipment. Be ready to ride and fight. The Dragon General comes." "You've got to be kidding me, Sergeant," Sturgill complained, a little too boldly in such close proximity to his lord. But if Prince Ivan had heard his ramblings, then he also intentionally ignored them. Sturgill was capable, attractive, 6'2" tall, a 6'2" brawny soldier, known for his gift in the sporting game of hurling. Those ships are our only chance. And the footnote is about sua sponte, of one's own accord, willingly, freely, and without aid. It's the 75th Ranger Regiment of the U.S. Army Rangers motto, referring to their ability to accomplish tasks with little or no prompting, and to recognize that Rangers volunteer 4 times for the Army, Airborne School, Ranger School, and service in the 75th Ranger Regiment. Okay. Sir John simply looked at him amusedly over the top of his saddle. "Circle up, Rangers," Sir John urged. "The king needs us to buy them some time. Jinjang Lo, will land within hours. If we do not put on a bold show, then he will sail his fleet straight for Sina, and no Furman will escape from Sissily alive. If we work together, we can do our jobs and leave with them, but it will not be easy. Like lambs to the slaughter, Goodale, Sir John's brave, brown-haired squad physician grumbled. This is no rear guard. This is a suicide mission. We all volunteered for this duty, Sir John replied, and I am damn proud to be in your company. Anyone who wants to board ship and get off this island is free to go now. No one will blame you. Hell, I'd rather sail right along with you. Damn it, Sergeant, Sturgill said. You know that isn't going to happen. I'm not done with these bastards anyway. Sir John looked each of his rangers in the eye. Valiant knights all, proven 100 times over as they had struggled to liberate every hill and rock from north to south along the island. Good, then let's put on a bold show and ride the hell out of here. If they follow us along the Sina road, then we will give them a fight, and when the time comes, we'll make for that transport. A little bit more. The priestess Lin Whale advises her general. Jin Jang Lo searched the horizon, anxiously awaiting the first hint of land. Standing tall behind the dragon's figurehead of his flagship, Undaunted, he braced his shins against the rail to steady himself as he gazed through his spyglass. Land ho! Cried his watchman from the crow's nest. Dead ahead, Commander. Steady ahead, Captain Ra, bronze-skinned and brown-haired, ordered. Chachan Ra's sea legs were legendary. His leadership was skillful and ruthless, and his crew's loyalty absolute. Sailing on, the hours passed. Invisible details of the island improved. Smoke rose from many fires along the beaches, and several knights moved about the area. But heavy swell concealed the Furman's true numbers. Disgusted, Jin Jang Lo descended the forward stairs to the deck, turned, and entered his quarters. A series of grand waves caused the ship to lean hard to port, shift aft, and then roll back again. In a chaotic tumult that made everything unsecured, rolled down from tabletops to the floor, and from one side of the deck to the other. His most trusted adviser, Priestess Lin Whale, was then sitting up in her cot, clutching her abdomen and trying to resist the urge to surrender to her seasickness. Doc Alfar, her skin was very dark, which made her striking, evergreen eyes stand out all the more from within her pearl-white irises. Her hair was silky black, close-cropped, and curly in a warrior's cut. She was wearing the traditional aoyai, the full-length, form-fitting formal dress of the coven. It had long, well-tailored sleeves and a high seam along the outer thighs, allowing for freedom of movement. Black and trimmed in red, the crimson hourglass of her sect decorated the left breast panel. Crafted of exotic reptilian skins, her tall boots were enchanted for speed and trimmed in gold. Ornate forearm bracers, inlaid with magical runes, protected her like a suit of armor, and but one simple ring of mithril gold rested at the base of her right ring finger. Looking up, she was clearly not happy about the weather. I need your vision, Priestess. And that's where we'll end episode 20 at the top of page 165. When we return, we'll see what Priestess Lin Whale has foreseen. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.